What's the best advice you've ever received?
What if it can turn out better than you can imagine?
Okay, champs, so today we're going to have amazing conversation with Douwe van der Leer, and he's been in recruitment for the last 20 years. He knows everything from A to Z. I'm super excited. Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Douwe van der Leer. I'm a head of TA for the past 20 years in recruitment, working across automotive, consumer electronics, retail. Really looking to meet AJ in person and having a chat.
I always start with something weird, and the weird question will be, what do you believe about hiring that most recruiters would actually disagree with you?
What do I believe about hiring that most recruiters would actually disagree with me?
Yes.
That it is magic?
It is magic. Okay.
Yes. What I mean by that is that I believe in karma. Like whatever goes around comes around, and whatever you put in, you get out. And for some reason, I always feel there's some kind of magic just in general, and there are a lot better English words to use for the word magic. But let's keep it magic. That puts you in the right path of the right person at the right time. It's happened. I've been doing recruitment for more than 20 years. It's happened to me too often not to believe in some kind of like faith or magic that puts me just in front of the right person at the right time. And I need to believe that's for a reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the perfect formula would be, you need to have a data, insights, you need to have a gut feeling, and you need to have a magic.
Yeah. At some part, the art of recruitment, right? I like to call it magic because I like fantasy books, probably.
Okay. That's amazing. And maybe I would love to get a bit into the background, because you already mentioned you're doing this job for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
I think you're approaching even 25 years already in recruitment, last time I checked. And you've been doing actually the recruitment starting from the company Randstad.
Yeah.
And going to all the international companies, doing the executive search, leading the TA departments. How's it going for you, like changing the companies from one to another, the industry-wise as well? Like, are all they different in terms of the approach of hiring?
The company's approach might be different.
Okay.
Mine is pretty, how do you say that? Developed over time or evolved over time. So I started when I was 18 at Randstad, which is super young. Right? My first job was to hire security guards for a new build prison because there was an influx in bolletjes slickers, which actually means that there were a lot of drug couriers swallowing drugs, taking the plane to the Netherlands, coming here, and exiting it, and they caught on to that. So there was this huge influx of prisons or prisoners, and they needed guards, and Randstad was assigned to hire I don't know how many hundreds of guards to guard that prison. That was my first job when I was 18.
Okay.
to fill that.
That's amazing introduction to the industry.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, do I want to continue? And I've been doing that throughout my studies at Randstad, next to my studies here in Amsterdam. And still have dear friends from that time. And then moved in-house, basically. So moving from I've been in almost every industry, I'm saying, because new industries arise every few years. And my approach has always been to learn the business so well that I can actually work in it, right? So my goal is always to speak the language of the business, to really integrate into, let's say, the DNA of a business in terms of what are the macroeconomics, how does the company and its service or product, tie into that? How does that drill down to all the teams? What are their strategies? What are their challenges? Only then to consider the topic talent, right? So I always start way up top. So every time I get in touch with a new company, I'm like, yes, I can do research, right? Yeah. Because I'm a research-based sourcer. I think that would be my DNA. Okay. Research-based, not technical, but research-based. And I'd love to know the intricacies of a company, its product, which problem it's solving, to have those conversations with its leaders, because I feel that's the starting point before even talking to the market or the talent or talking about actual vacancies, right? So that's always been my approach, and that's always what I've gotten back. It's like, Douwe, you're like this chameleon. My wife always says, because the past 7 years I've been a contractor, so I need to onboard like that. And she says, within a day, you're already calling candidates and you have like a story. You're telling a story about a company and you just started. She's like, this cost me like 6 months. You've done it in a day. How do you do that? I'm like, well, I want to know everything about that company and then tie it to the best possible talent. So that's how I work. That's what the leaders like. That's why they like to talk to me. And that's why we engage on several topics, not just talent. So that's my approach, basically.
How you're keeping yourself still passionate about the job you do?
About what?
About the job you do, about the recruitment.
One is I've seen it go from offline to online to now, AI driven. It's evolving so fast, and we need to become super sharp, right? We need to be sharp as a knife, so to speak, in our role, because we are a short cycle, right? So if an economy, an industry, a company is doing well, we're the first to be able to need to jump in, right? And so we need to adapt very quickly, and that's my pace. I like to work at a high pace. So that's why I'm always surrounded in timings or industries or companies that have that sense of urgency, that pace, but also the room for real impact, right? And I love that. Why I still love my role is because I get to do what I love to do. I love to talk to people. I love to research. I like to think about creative ideas in general, but specifically on people. And I like to make that connection, right? So during my college days, I was like the connector, right? So students came to me saying, hey, Douwe, I'm saving up for a vacation with friends, right? Can you hook me up, right? Do you have a job? I'm like, yeah, sure. How much do you need? How much do you save? Okay, you can work at Heineken Experience there, do some tours, then work at ABN AMRO, answer the phone, and then you have like 1,000 net within a few months. I was like this wheeler-dealer guy, right? Which I liked, but I've never liked the true agency conversion side of it. So I like both, right?
Okay.
So it's ever evolving, and I like to be. I need to be stimulated a lot. Okay. So because it's always a lot happening, that's why I love what I do. Right, I can go left, right,
okay,
and have deep conversation as well. So it's a combination of factors, I think.
If you compare the recruitment in 2026 with the recruitment in 2020, pre-COVID, let's say times.
Oh, pre-COVID. Okay, that's important.
How it's different?
How it's different? It's different in the sense that more doesn't equal better, right? I think pre-2020 there was a lot of merit as well, but a lot of focus on the size of the TA teams. Which is totally shifted, right? That narrative, that's changed, and I was detriment to that as well. It's like, okay, then we need one recruiter, a maximum, let's say, workload of 10 roles per recruiter, high touch. Honestly, if you look at it today, you could do at least twice the amount. If I just look at myself, I could probably do 2 roles at the same time right now. At that time, it wasn't possible or feasible.
Okay.
Right now, you can do at least 40% more.
Okay.
And you can allocate your time to, I think, more impactful areas of the business, of our trade as a recruiter. And that's something I am so happy to see. So that's going to be, that is already shifted, right? In terms of where we spend our time, where do we index the role on versus what is taking away of our impact as a function. I love that trend. I'm also fearful for a lot of my peers that have been stuck in a role that will soon become obsolete. I think.
You believe so? You believe so?
I think, and I'm sorry to all the recruiters out there, not all, but a lot, we've been moved into an administrative function for the past 20 years, right? The way I approach, as I mentioned just now, how I approach every role, every assignment I have, is I go where the impact is felt, right? I go into the business. I sit at their departments. I sit in on their meetings. I learn their world. I speak their language. I know their pain points. I know their teams. A lot of the recruitment over the past 20 years has been waiting on that team to give you an assignment, or purely reacting, and then managing a process where a lot of it is just is administrative work, right?
Okay.
Which I hated. My wife was a recruitment coordinator, right? She handled the admin, the scheduling, etc. for recruiters. And I said, that's why I met you, right? You complete me. Because I'm horrible at that.
I hope she got it as a compliment.
Well, she completes me in many more ways, just that, and we will never work together for sure. Trust me. She will hate me as a recruiter. But no, that's why I love where we're going, because it's very egocentric for me personally, because my love for what I do sits right where I think the function is going, right? As a talent strategist, right? Supported by AI, supported by automation, supported by data insights, but have those real conversations on the front end with the business to translate that to talent strategies and automate a lot of that's in the middle. That would be, for me, it's a perfect world.
Okay. As we already talked a bit about that the shift is happening.
Yeah.
How do you envision the talent acquisition teams in-house in the mid-sized companies, like a 500, 600 employees? How big is the team? What exactly they're doing?
I think the mid-sized companies, dependent on which industries, will be maybe the last to move. But that's a very Dutch-centric way of thinking, like the MKB, so the mid-sized market in the Netherlands, will be a slow follower. Right, the fast followers will be the newer, younger companies, I'd say the start and skill ups, because of the need, so the lag of, let's say, funding. So the need to become more efficient and leaning on automation as well more. And the bigger companies that have the resources to experiment and test and have maybe a stronger pressure from, let's say, shareholders to make certain investments or budget cuts in general. So it's going to be interesting. So the middle segment will probably, if they do it well, they can learn a lot from both corporate and startup, and then maybe do an Apple-like approach, right? As a fast follower.
Okay.
Wait until everything is innovated, then make it better.
Okay.
So that's going to be interesting how they end up. I think where in a general mid-sized company, so let's say around 500 people, you probably historically have a TA team of probably 3, right? Maybe 1 senior, 2 recruiters, like media and junior, handling probably between 10 and 15 roles at any given moment. I think that's the historic number, would be somewhere around that, right? So probably fill 2 roles a month, so handle 24 a year, average. So I think that would be a good size. Going forward, I think a lot of the mid-sized companies will probably try to own recruitment more in the business, where they might need to lean on 1 or 2 resources. So going forward, I think mid-sized companies could be the ones that try to do a hiring manager-only TA function. So lean fully on automation on one side, if they're progressive, saying, okay, we automate the whole process and then have the hiring manager input and review the output. We'll see if that works, but that's an end state I'm interested in seeing. I'm not saying it will get there. I'm not saying it's good, but I think companies will try it. Yeah, because the tools seem to be to make it possible. So that's interesting. So I see that happening, but I think we'll definitely see half the size of most teams.
Okay.
So cut down by 50%. I think that's a pretty realistic outlook, but it will take some time getting there.
Okay. For the recruitment leaders out there, who is facing this issue now, or who's going to face this issue maybe in a couple of years, what would be the suggestion? Where they need to go, what they need to do, how they need to transform themselves towards something maybe?
That's a big question, right? It's so dependent on the company, like the history of the company, the current state, the outlook, the market. There are many different, I think, answers to this question. The most important thing, I think, as a TA function that you could do is tie yourself directly to the business strategy, align your goals towards it, be very transparent and honest in what you cost, but also in what you deliver. Don't cut too soon because you won't get it back. So innovate, get a good, let's say zero, I call it null mating. It's like the current state assessment. Then innovate slowly over time and see how it impacts that current state, right? So that could be time, that could be cost, it could be quality. But start to innovate. If you don't already test and try now, you'll be surprised when the business says, hey, TA leader, you need to cut your team by 40%. Then you won't know what to do. So you need to get ahead of that because it will come, that question. Also because you're tied to the economics of the world, but also of the business. So there will come a time, every X amount of years, where you get asked that question or demanded that output that you need to cut somewhere, right? So already have strategies in place where you can cut, how you can cut, how do you keep your impact and your output the same, but with a different type of input, whether that's people, whether that's automation, whether that's other tooling. So be prepared for a question, how to reduce your cost or your team by 30%. So if you assume the worst, right, then be prepared for it, then you won't be surprised. And I think the best leaders won't have a tendency to not get surprised, right? So a lot of the times, also when you said, like, what do you love? I love future looking. That's what I love doing. And it's a horrible trade because you don't know. So you can go on endlessly, right? My wife hates it, trust me. But if you keep forward looking, you have to look at it in scenarios, right? And you have to prepare for scenarios because I think that's your job as a TA leader. You cannot just sit and expect tomorrow to be the same. You need to know that tomorrow could be A, B, or C, right? And you need to prepare for that. So if your leader comes to you saying, hey, Douwe, you need to change X amount of cost, you know, that's scenario C, I know what to do, right? But that says to your leader that you've given it thought, that you're a thoughtful leader, you're future looking, you tied yourself to the business economics. So you're very connected to the company and its mission. So that puts yourself in a different position as well when you want to ask budget back, right? Because you're realistic and you're business savvy, right? So if you're business savvy, you know what the bottom line means. So you know what it means to cut costs. You know the impact of it, you know why you're doing it. You also know you're probably going to ask for it back at a certain time. So be mindful there of the company's goals first, and attach your team and your costs accordingly. Okay. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think I have a follow-up questions on the, and maybe let's go with the two scenarios. And not necessarily it should be the company of the 500 employee size, yeah? Let's say the TA leader may be solo, like solo TA in the company, or it's the TA leader with a couple of people in the team.
Yeah.
And now we need to go with the two scenarios. So the first one wants to change, wants to start testing, more open to innovate. And my question, how to take the first steps?
To innovate?
Yeah, to start actually doing something. They wanna, but they don't know how to start. What would be your suggestion?
Don't wait. I always say it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. That's, trust me, my mantra. Most of my leaders know that. I'm smiling because I can picture them now saying, oh, Douwe. I like to try, right? I think we have a perfect profession to test and learn and to basically do that at a low cost model, right? So there are so many tooling out there. I mean, you have a free trial. I could literally get value from that for 14 days with Avery without paying anything, but already building a business case, right? So if you stop and wait for approval, then by the moment you get approval, you're already too late, right? Right now, the innovation is happening really fast. So I would say, go out there and test, or make someone accountable for it. So in few teams previously, I had 2 people in my team who loved tooling, who loved to innovate, who loved their day job, but they loved to play around with tools even more, right? So they had their day job, which they got paid for. I gave them like a side job or a hustle, which said, find me the best possible tooling, right? I said, imagine the world 3 years from now, we're now with 15 FTE, 2 RPOs, right? Within the next 3 years, we're going to get asked this question, cut by 40%. It's going to happen. Trust me. Make that scenario for me. Which tooling should we already implement now? Where are we there? So I gave them that assignment to already start preparing for, which was really cool. So what they did, they started doing a lot of vendor conversation as well. And we got a few trials there, right? So because we wanted to test on a few different aspects. But I always say just start now, build a case, but know where you want to let's say utilize that whatever tooling you want to implement, right? Okay. So know where you want to be. Don't ask for cost first, but get some results first, and then build a business case based on those results. So already show to your budget owner that you've explored options, right? You've done your due diligence. You know what the costs are, but you specifically know what the value add will be, and how to make that tangible. If you cannot have that conversation with your business leader, they will not give you the budget to go all into a certain tooling, right? So you need to be able to build a business case. That's a muscle you need to grow. And partner with your finance team. My most surprising and beneficial partnerships were with the finance team. I remember the first time I went there, I said, could you run basically an output of your finance system on all recruitment costs, right? And they said, yeah, but it's spread out, right? It's allocated. This one is to the business. This one is owned by you. This one. I said, okay, just get it all, right? Yeah. And I'll figure it out, because they couldn't figure it out. It's not their day job, right? I wanted it. So they gave me all the recruitment costs, and I said, okay, how much do I need, right? And where can I find that money? So I was like, okay, if we focus on sourcing tooling, right? If we make our sourcing muscle better, more accurate, higher conversion rates, right? What will be the impact on it, on recruitment or external agencies? So let's say, very minimalistic, we could cut down 10%, right? We can own 10% more of the sourcing ourselves than we generically outsource. How much is that? So if you spend, let's say, $1 million a year, that's 100K, right? So 100K, if I can make that business case, then I can start, making it tangible. And my business leader said, okay, if you can have 10%, what if you can do 20%? I said, okay. Then you open it up, right? So you have to make it tangible and use money that's already spent, so they don't have to ask for more money, but you're getting it from a different area, right? So that's why I partner with finance, because then you know where the money is going and what you're actually spending, and if that is where you want to spend it, right? And if it isn't, then okay, see where you want to spend that money or your budget, and take it from that other source, which sounds easy, but it's not always done, because a lot of the money just flows away, right? So know where the money is going, where it's coming from, and use it.
I love it. And the reason for that is, I think it's a very, maybe this is not a basic exercise, but this is actually something you can do. But then within the company, I keep seeing the leaders, when they see okay, we are hiring 200 people, we're struggling, we need to hire faster, we have a pressure, but then, they can have some solution, let's say for 20, 30, 40K, and this is really nothing in comparison with the budget they might actually have, but they're like struggling to get the budget. Because obviously they didn't do this exercise to really understand where's all the money and how they can actually redistribute the money to get into the solution. But okay, I love the first one. Let's go with the second scenario, which is a bit pessimistic, but I guess this is what I also keep seeing a lot. The TA teams, the TA leaders, but also the solo TA people, who doesn't believe that something's going to change with them, so they can actually keep doing whatever they are doing the traditional way. So what is the future outlook for them?
I've seen a team recently in that state, and it physically hurt me because I saw a team that had given up. So they were called the weakest link in the company.
Okay.
And I'm almost getting emotional here, but there was no soul in it anymore, right? So if you believe nothing will change, right? If you can keep doing what you've done yesterday with the same results, then I would definitely ask the question, are you doing what you love doing, right? Why are you in recruitment? Because our world is constantly evolving and moving, right? And I always say, if you hire for experience, so for the past, you want it done the same old way. And that's not what the world is going, right? I'm just waving. You cannot just lean back, right? Because the world doesn't lean back. The world is constantly evolving. If you're not moving with the world, you're moving almost against it, right? You're going to a different direction. I don't think it will make you happy because you're not driving innovation. You're not making things better. You're just basically waiting, right? And I think it's just recruitment in general, right? If you sit still in the world that we live in today, you get passed by. If that's your ideal state of being, then fine, but then you will get left behind, right? I'm not saying you need to run ahead of the pack, and you need to always start and think about next innovations. There are so many different variables to that, but doing nothing, like inactivity, I think it isn't life, right? We need to evolve.
Okay.
So yeah.
What's going to happen with those people? Let's say one of the seniors, they're going to lose the job, and there won't be more recruitment jobs as well. Why? Because the area is shrinking, yeah? How they can actually transform themselves? What is the next job for them? Maybe not in the recruitment, but still they can apply their capabilities, skills, talents.
If they want to move out of recruitment as well?
Let's say they are forced to move out of recruitment
Yeah.
because simply there is no job in recruitment anymore.
Yeah. Listen to yourself. What do you love doing? What makes you happy? I mean, it could be anything, right? My wife, as I said, she was in recruitment. Didn't make her happy in the end, at least where she was sitting in the org. She took a moment, and now she's becoming a ceramist. So she's making pottery, she's doing a study, and she's making amazing stuff, right? So I would say, do where your passion takes you, right? And if you don't know, talk to people. Talk to people like me and find out what makes you happy, what makes you smile, what makes you wake up in the morning, right? And that can be in the little things, but even if it's in the little things, right? Make it bigger then, or do more of it, right? But it's such a waste to be stuck in a dead-end job that doesn't make you happy, right? So first listen to yourself, know yourself, right? There's so few people who really know themselves.
Yeah.
They just, are stuck in emotion.
Yeah.
Just stand still for a moment. Look around. What makes you happy right now? This is my favorite weather. It's sun. It's cold. It makes me sharp. Makes my body look better because it's cold, right? No, but there's so many different reasons for it. That makes me happy. So being outside makes me happy.
Yeah.
So early retirement, live outside. That's my goal. But listen to yourself. right? That makes you happy. And it can be, skills are translatable, right? A lot of people say recruiters should go into sales. Like, I've heard that like throughout my career, like thousands of times, go into sales, you should be good at sales. I'm like, I can be good at this as well. Why should I be in sales, right? And question mark, which was an interesting conversation. But I've always done sales recruitment.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the bridge. But you know, I still love what I'm doing. I wake up with a smile knowing I have a full day of interviews, I have business meetings, I have interviews with AJ. I have a very full life, and I have time to spend with my kids, to work out, to play tennis. We're chatting about the Australian Open. So I have a full life, but all are centered around what makes me happy, right? Which is family, which is work, which is sports, which is adventure and spontaneity. Is that saying it correctly? But those are aspects that are really important.
Yeah.
So center it around that and you'll be fine.
Are you an outcome-driven person, or you're more focused on the process?
I was. This is a quote of my former director. He says, "Fuck the process, do the right thing." So if you question if it's the right thing to do, it isn't. If the process is leading you to do things you question or are questionable, don't do it, right? So I'm not a process guy, right? I'm an outcome guy. So if the outcome is for instance, hiring a senior leader and I need to change that process, but it's for the right reasons, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's me.
Okay. And if we are actually going a bit deeper to the outcome drivenness,
Yeah.
obviously there are some metrics in recruitment which you want to measure yourself or which is being measured. Which ones you think the most efficient or the most right?
My two favorite metrics are conversion ratio.
Conversion ratio.
Yeah.
Okay.
And candidate experience, NPS.
NPS.
So those two will tell me probably everything about the entire process, how my recruiters are doing, what the outcome is, how happy the managers are, how we are basically attracting talent, how we are moving them through the process, our ability to hire. It will give me all that. I think that those two I focus on and drill in deeply on, specifically conversion ratio. And then you have the bigger one, right, from applicant to hire.
Yeah.
But I love the steps in between.
Okay.
Right? So I love the metric, the conversion between interview screen and hiring manager screen. And then to see how, let's say, how well my team matches the requirement to the role and how a hiring manager adopts that. So I love to see that, because the better my recruiters are, the deeper they are integrated with the business, the higher those conversion ratios will be, right?
Okay.
So my ideal world is that it's 100, right? So that that's the ideal state. So that every candidate my team processes will eventually get hired. So that's, let's say, that will probably never happen.
Yeah.
But if you work towards that, then you can drill it all the way down, then you know what you need to do. You need to know the business, you need to know, the strategy, you need to know the teams, you need to know which skills they have, what complements them, their personalities. If you know all that, then you also know the ideal talent that fits in that team or that fits that vacancy, right? And that for me would be an ideal future state, right? That it's like you work with predictive success indicators.
You focused on the interview. My question is how to get from the level 0, the stage 0,
Yeah.
where there's only a thought about the role, towards the first right interview. How to accelerate those actually stages
So
from your perspective and experience.
So please ask me again. So
Sure. Let's imagine that I'm your hiring manager,
Yeah.
and I have a thought about the hire, but how to make it happen that, I don't know, in a couple of days I'm already interviewing the right person. Is it even possible?
Well, this is this is funny. Actually, this is the holy grail, right? To hire a role that isn't a vacancy. That's the holy grail. So if you can do that, then you're truly a strategic function, a strategic talent function, because you will anticipate the needs of the business, because you know the business, you know their pain points. You have the room to offer opportunistic talent. If there's room for opportunistic talent, that means that your company is also talent-driven, which is crucial, right, in this day and age, which is the companies I love working for.
Yeah.
So the room to offer opportunistic talent means that you influence the business decisions based on the talents you bring forward to the business, right? And if you can do that, then they can hire people or add skills to their team before there's even a need, right? So you don't even have that conversation, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's for me, is the holy grail.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just hired a VP of marketing.
Really?
Before it was a vacancy, before even the actual VP was gone, I knew he was going to stay in California.
This is what I call pure proactiveness.
Yeah.
To every leader that joined the company, the most important thing you'll be doing at Sonos are the people you hire. By default, that gave us, as a TA function, the most strategic role in the company, because we were attached to the most important goal of every leader in the company. We were a joint to the hip, right? We were walking in sync with the business. Mm-hmm. I was involved in everything. Like, I was functionally oriented, which is my style as a TA function, to be attached to a function. Mm-hmm. That's also maybe a sidestep where TA might go, to separate from HR and move into the function, into the business. Yeah. Specifically driven by automation and the output. I could see that happening in certain companies. We're not there yet, but could be. So I was sitting in on leadership meetings in Boston, in EMEA as well. I was having daily calls with the MD in Australia, right? First of all, talking about the business, right? About Sonos, our results, our channels, how we're filling in, our challenges, the teams that we're setting up, the new initiatives, the long-term strategy of going from indirect to direct sales, right? Thank you. So I knew the business inside out. And then secondly, I also know recruitment. Yeah. But I was sitting in on meetings and actually gave input in meetings on sales conversation based on my recruitment expertise. And they actually used some of my, let's say, strategies that I used in my meetings into their client meetings, right? So to that degree, I was integrated. Like, I was part of the team. Officially, I was part of the recruitment team, but I was part of the sales team and the go-to-market team. And that's something I always try to find at different companies that I join in now, and also if I'm involved in creating or shaping strategies. Like, I need my team to be visible in the business, to know their world, to seek them out, right? To be naturally curious, to know what drives them, right? To be sought after as an expert, as an advisor. So that was also our role. We weren't talent acquisition, TA, we were trusted advisors. That was our function, basically. So.
You basically answered my question.
I did?
The question was how to stop being a cost center and how to get actually a space around the table with the leadership. And I guess this is exactly the approach.
Yeah.
How you need to make it happen.
I mean, there are more consultancy-driven, let's say, business partners that, for instance, make a headcount tangible in revenue, right? Or empty seat metrics, right? What does it cost the business? So the longer, like, what does an empty seat in a function cost per day or per month? Yeah. And the longer we wait with recruitment, or the later we get involved in recruitment, the longer, the higher the costs are. You have those metrics as well. but I'm more relationship focused, I think. Before, driving it all the way down to the cent. I want them to know what the added value is for them to partner with me and my function all the way before we even have a vacancy, right? All the way from the beginning.
Is there even a number of how many hires you've been part of? You hired yourself, or you were in the process, or you were leading the process for the hires? Are we talking about the thousands?
Oh, way over.
Way over.
Yeah.
10,000?
I think it's going to be somewhere between 7 and 12, somewhere there.
Okay, this is huge.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be quite a difficult one, but do you have a memory about one specific hire in those 8 to 12,000 that somehow it actually stuck with you? Maybe you learned something, maybe it was just fun hire.
Yes. Can I say her name? No. This was an interesting hire where a lot went wrong. The outcome was good. The way we got there was fluid and not frictionless, basically. So this was at Sonos. My first assignment at Sonos, so within my role as a senior TA partner, was to build the Nordic headquarters and build out the Nordic region, right? Meaning we need to have the leadership team based in Copenhagen, responsible for building out Sonos across the 4 countries. So we needed to hire a country manager, marketing, operations, you name it. Sonos is a brand-led company, meaning marketing trumps everything, right? So our marketing leader in a very design-focused region was super important, because Sonos was not considered a speaker, it was also part of your home, of your furniture, right? It was stylish, it needed to blend in, but not be invisible, if you know what I mean. So the way you position Sonos as a brand and as a product was key to the success. So we needed to hire a marketing leader in a very highly penetrated market, which was a big role. So I found someone. It was actually through a referral. So actually our marketing leader in the Netherlands said, talk to this guy. And this guy, his name was Daniel. He was based in Sweden, came over to the Netherlands because he was working at Nike. I literally jumped out of the office on my bicycle, had coffee with him in Hilversum because Nike's also in Hilversum. We had a great conversation where I said, no, we're not going to hire you based on multiple reasons, but I love the way you view the role and marketing in general. Do you know anyone? He said, I might know someone, let me check. So I biked back to the office. He went back to Sweden, sent me a note afterwards. He said, maybe you should have a conversation with Nini. So I had a conversation, so I reached out, and she has a pedigree of Facebook, Nike, and was on the verge of starting her own business when I contacted her. So she was already there and setting up her consultancy or advisory, and then I came in, super annoying. And I said, I have the opportunity of a lifetime. So I engaged with her, which was a long-term approach, right? So after we had our first conversation, I was sold on her as a candidate. Her vision, her pedigree, her experience, her personality, the culture match. She was actually from Finland, but on the Swedish side, so she could speak both Swedish and Finnish, and had the best of both worlds there, and strong brands as a background, right? So we started up the process with her. Then halfway through the process, we had a hiring pause, and I said. So I got back to the business saying, okay, we have a hiring pause, but our strategy is to build, our capabilities in the Scandinavian region, has that changed? No, that hasn't changed, but we're pausing for now. I said, okay, how can we guarantee a good candidate experience? How can we maintain, our focus on the output and building the best possible team if we stop, midway through a process? Like, what are the chances that we have an outcome that we won't hire this person? So those are very limited. So what is the risk in continuing then the conversation and getting ahead of the decision, and by already finishing the selection process, giving her an experience that she actually values, which is our core value, the experience matters, was a core value of the company.
Okay.
So what is the risk there, right? Because the risk what I'm seeing now, and I was very vocal. So I escalated this to the US, to California, had those conversations saying, we are destroying her experience, right? We're destroying her motivation to join our company. We are not showing commitment to her or to our plan. We're becoming, we're being seen as insecure if we pause this process and against who we are in our core DNA as an experience-focused company. So I escalated this, and this all the way up to the founder. And where I was pushing, like, we need to continue. This is the best person for the job, not just in this role, but also where Sonos is going, where she will go, and what value she will add. So I got the green light, and we continued the process. Shall I pause it here?
No.
We continued the process, and I did two things there. So one, I needed to be 100% honest with her. So I was honest in why we started, why we paused. I flew out to Copenhagen. I flew out every week, so it wasn't super special. But I flew out, had the conversation with her. I gave her a Blue Note speaker, which is one of the most rare Sonos speakers out there. It was blue. It was a collaboration with Blue Note, which is a classic musical streaming service, which is super stylish. But I told her the honest story. I told her where I think we're going. I told her what her plan was, that we'll continue. I cannot guarantee we get to hire within, a month, but maybe long term. And I showed her our dedication and gave her some of our product, but not just any product, because I knew she was setting up her home office. This would tie into her color scheme, because I knew actually, I knew her, right?
Wow.
So she was super welcoming. We continued the process. She got hired 9 months post-start of our conversation.
Wow.
9 months. 9 months, I was keeping her engaged. I was challenging the business. I was fighting battles that she's never aware of.
Okay.
She was never aware of. She just left last year, and I hired her in 2015.
Wow.
She started in the Nordics as head of marketing. Then she moved to the headquarters and ended up being responsible for all of marketing.
Wow.
She's amazing. I think my manager sometimes called me, are the two of you a thing? You're so close knit, because we spent so much time developing our relationship as candidate and recruiter that also the moment we started working together, because I was a recruitment partner as well, we were 100% in sync. I knew who she was, where she was coming from, what her vision was, and what was needed to get there. Okay. Right? We were, let's say, 2 handen op 1 buik, 2 hands on 1 belly, which is like a horrible translation. Sorry, but we were very close. So I think that's my best hire. It got me the Courage Award at Sonos, which is the only.
Definitely.
I think there are 2 speakers out there. So it's a Sonos Play 1, a very old one, it's a long time ago, with a lion printed on it, which was a new award, which was given to TA partners or leaders or whatever role you had within the function that showed extreme courage in speaking out, on the values, challenging the status quo, challenging your internal customers as well, but really standing for what we believe in. And I did that, and I didn't do that because the award didn't even exist when I did it, so there was never a driver.
Yeah.
But they rewarded that. So they rewarded me standing up for what I think, what I believe in, and for being, for voicing that opinion.
Okay.
And not settling, which was something I'm taking with me to this day. I won't settle.
I think those stories what makes you actually to become a fan of the brand as well. It's not the product, but the story behind the culture the behavior, attitude, and everything. So you just shared the story about the way you do that actually was in the Sonos, but now I'm like, okay, I'm starting to really like this brand even more.
There are many stories about that time there.
Okay.
One thing is controversial, I'll share.
Okay.
It's the TA partner had, and this maybe sounds a bit wrong, had the power or had the responsibility for hiring manager readiness. The TA partner could say that a hiring manager is not ready to hire.
Okay.
So the hiring manager could come to me saying, Douwe, I want to open up a vacancy. And I was well within my mandate to saying, no, you can't.
Wow.
And this is why. One, you're not 90 days on board. You're not onboarded yourself. So you cannot hire because you don't know the company, you don't know the mission, you don't know the strategy, you haven't integrated fully to be able to know what it means to hire at Sonos. So after 90 days, we'll start up the conversation and you'll get to open one role. Because you need to know what you're hiring, because our hiring is long-term focused, not short-term butts in seats.
Yeah.
We hire for long-term quality, meaning you need to know what that looks like.
Yeah.
You don't know that yet. Second, it costs a lot of time to hire well, a lot of time, specifically at Sonos. Our processes were way too long, but still, it costs a lot of time. So any hiring manager could maximally be engaged with 2 hiring activities at the same time to give it the attention it needs. Because the hiring manager owns the hire, right? Recruitment owns the process, but the hiring manager owns the hire. That means that the hiring manager's role throughout the process to ensure an awesome candidate experience is to be there at every touch point. Because in the end, the candidate will work for you as a hiring manager, not me as a recruiter. They will come to work for you. That means you need to be visible, you need to be present, you need to show your care, you need to be there. And that costs time. You cannot do that for 5 roles, trust me. If you're really good, you can do that for 3.
Okay.
So,
I like it.
yeah, which were super interesting conversations, trust me. And some got it, some didn't. You know, it took a while. We gave hiring manager trainings a lot, right? We had quarterly sessions with all new leaders, and they spent a day on recruitment. A day, a full day. And I led those here in EMEA. Those were amazing. We talk about hiring only, and I got full focus, quality time with the new leaders of the company every quarter to talk about how we hire at Sonos. So all the leaders that stepped out of that meeting, they walked out knowing what was expected of them, why it was expected of them, what the added value was, and how we work together as a team. So for the entire team, all the recruiters, after those meetings, their relationship, only got better. The outcome got better. It was perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think this is not something as a norm in many companies, when actually the hiring managers are getting the proper training, how to contribute to the hiring process, what is being expected from them, etc.
What they're getting is very transactional. They're getting hiring manager interview training at most companies, right? In my world, as I would do it, they're being brought along through the hiring manager philosophy at the company from day one as a leader. And then all the way throughout the process and the mechanics and the tooling, etc. But the first thing is the why, the philosophy, the strategy, how we hire and why do we do that? Right? What is your role? How do you show up? Like, what's your recruiter's role? Like, where can you lean on? What's expected of me? And why do we do that? Like, if you build it up all the way there, then all those other transactional pieces, they will tie into the bigger, let's say, the why of things, right? So it makes sense. If you don't have that start, then, let's say, the roles and responsibilities, the interview training, it doesn't click. Because it doesn't tie into the why, and that's so important, and we forget that. Because we think, oh no, we need to be focused on D&I, we need to get away from confirmation bias, etc. And the hiring manager will say, yeah, of course, I'll sit in this training and I'll not nod to the things they say I like or when they go to the same university. they need to get it. And then you need to bring them along. If you don't bring them along, you have them start at the end, right? Of a whole train of thought, a whole reasoning, and a whole build-up strategy, where actually there's a lot of thought put into that, and that only that piece, that selection piece, is just one part of it, right? Without the whole, that part doesn't land well.
Okay. I think I have a thought how to incorporate a new project from Avery side towards the companies, specifically with the focus to the hiring managers.
I'll take a few percent, that's fine.
Thank you, man. Couple of more things. First of all, let's say the candidates are watching now. And as we know, the job market is actually quite harsh right now.
Yep.
What would be the piece of advice for them to stand up, and show up themselves, somehow?
Stand out.
Yeah, and get the job.
It's a very actual question because, as I just mentioned, right, for the right role at the right company at the right time, I am definitely looking for that new permanent role, right, after 7 years of contracting. So it's very personal as well. And I'm getting so many outhand rejections that's questioned my ability to network and maybe recruit in a certain sense. I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm not getting seen, or not for the right reasons, or my profile's not shining through, or maybe I'm naive in applying to certain roles, maybe where my skills or experience, just doesn't apply. So I've been giving that some thought, and the only thing, there are two things there. I need to trust that right role will become visible to me at the right time, at the right company, with the right hiring manager who will see me, and not just see my resume, right? So I need to trust that, because otherwise you're gonna get rejected. You're gonna get rejected more than you're gonna get hired, right? In general. So you need to build some, some thick skin, and you not make it personal. Right, so every rejection you get, the moment you make it personal, that's where it will impact you in a negative sense, and that you don't want to follow that route, because you're worth better, right? You deserve better. So that means that they just didn't see you, right? So you need to make them see who you really are. Mm-hmm. So you can do that either by giving yourself a platform, which I suck at, right? Like go out, post, and then do vlogs like this or what. I really am not good at it. Right, I know I should.
But we are contributing right now.
You are, so I thought I'd lean in on your skill set to do that, and I'll just be, a willing participant. So if that's your thing, be visible on what you truly believe in, but stay true to yourself, because for everyone, there's a company or a role that fits. But the moment you start tweaking yourself to what you think people want to hear, or what you think companies will want to see, you're not 100% who you are. So you will also not find the place where you can be your true self, right? So be 100% transparent in who you are, what you want, right? Really think about what you want or where you want it, and put yourself out there if you want to. Secondly, you need to lean on your network, people that know you, right? If they don't know you're looking, then they cannot help you, right? So you need to connect with them, constantly. Within my network, the people that know me, they know exactly what I'm looking for, what my timeline is, what roles they can call me for. They know what roles I won't accept, right? So they know the type of companies and culture that match. So I have my own, let's say, recruiters out there. They're not all recruiters, but just, advocates of me. And I need to just trust the process there, that it will happen when the timing is right?
Okay.
That's hard. It's hard. I had a conversation yesterday with a global head of TA, and he said, Douwe, I'm maybe in this position, I won't share who he is, but I've been rejected 1,000 times as well, right? Just stick at it. It's nothing detriment to who you are or what you've done. It's just not the right role or not the right time. Just keep the confidence in who you are and keep believing in yourself, and it will happen.
Yeah.
I've had moments that I doubted myself, many, right? But I need to stay positive because I feel if you think positive, positive things will happen.
Exactly.
So and sometimes that's easier than other days, right?
But I like it. It's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
Douwe, we have a game.
Yeah.
And I think you already mentioned about the company swag. So let's make it happen.
Okay.
You need to win the game, though, 3 times to make it happen for yourself. And then you have to choose. We have a super cool hoodie, and we have a super cool umbrella.
Always hoodie.
Always hoodie. That's it. So if you win, you're gonna get the hoodie.
Sure.
If I win, then you give it the proper chance to pilot Avery in the company where you're working at.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough?
Fair
Shall
enough.
we?
Yeah.
Okay, you count.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, 1-0.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
Ooh, that's
it's
me.
very risky. Okay.
Is it best of 3 or 3 times winning?
3 times win.
Damn it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, that's it.